I'm your host, Bradley Martin, and this is Clearing the Way, a resource for small business owners. Hello, humans. I'm your host, Bradley Martin, and this is Clearing the Way, a resource for small business. I talk with sales and HR experts, other small business owners, and anyone else that can provide you with information to clear your way to success. Last week, I had two separate meetings with two separate businesses. One was for my business, one was for the CDC. And in both cases, we were dealing with the same issue or the same issues, and that was around their point of sale. Both situations could have been avoided if we just asked a little bit better questions up front. And that's why I thought it was going to be a really good topic for today. So both of these business owners at some point in our conversations while we're trying to work through these problems, both of them said something along the lines of, I just didn't know what I needed. I didn't know what to do. I'm an idiot with this stuff. But the thing is, you're probably not an idiot, probably not an idiot, but you don't focus on these things, and you shouldn't. Like, you shouldn't have to worry about getting upsold on these things or getting sold something that you don't need. So we need to figure out how we can avoid that. You know, you make awesome food. You make a dope cupcake. You make awesome T-shirts. You've got a passion for antiques, or you're an incredible corporate trainer. Whatever it is, the tech side or your point of sale, marketing, some of these things might not be your expertise, and that's fine. It doesn't need to be. But if we can set a little bit of a basic knowledge, or at least know how to ask the right questions, then we can make sure that we're not getting taken advantage of. When you're starting out, an extra $100 a month, an extra $200 a month, $300 a month, like that can be significant. Even if you're not just starting out, even if $100 or $300 a month, you've got plenty in the budget for it. An extra $300 in the pocket every month is kind of nice. That's not nothing. So today we're going to talk about choosing your point of sale and how to just best get to a product that is best for you. So let's kind of talk through a couple. Let's set the stage with the first situation. So we have a client. Let's call them Ned. And we were trying to implement online ordering. This is a restaurant. They make everything from scratch. So some of the things they sell out of each day. They can't stock everything all day. It's just not the way the business works. So it's super important to them to be able to mark out of stock easily. And this is also a business that's in a little bit of a delicate state right now. So that extra $100, $150 a month, it's significant to them right now. They're currently using Clover as their point of sale. And we were going to implement online ordering with Menufy. So I spoke with Menufy for Ned, and they explained everything to me. I thought I understood everything. I asked some pretty good questions. I thought I spelled it out exactly how it needed to be set up. I knew how it worked. I knew how the flow of money worked. Customers place their order. $1.50 is added on. That is Menufy's fee. Menufy keeps that, and customer pays it, and Ned gets his normal cost of the food. It's just with an extra $1.50 on for the customer. No big deal. They were going to call Ned, walk him through the online ordering before launching, and they were going to work with him through all of that. So here is where important tip number one comes up. If something doesn't feel right when you're getting some of these things set up, don't be afraid to ask questions or just pause the process so you can do a little bit more research. Say, hey, we'll give you a call back. Let me call you back next week. I need to do some research. I need to figure out if this is actually going to be best for me. They're, in a lot of cases, their job is to get you to sign up for these things. So not that they're going to be shady about that. Like, I'm not implying that, but it is a good idea for you to just spell everything out, get everything as clear as possible, make sure that you're making the right decision. So that being said, Ned gets a call from MenuFi, and they're asking for a credit card, and he wasn't sure what that was from. So fantastic job on his part. He says, "Hey, just hold on. I don't have it with me right now, but I'll give you a call back." He calls me and asks me like, "Hey, what's going on here? I didn't think we were going to pay anything." I thought the same. So I gave them a call. We talked through the process. The process either wasn't explained clearly to me or I didn't ask good enough questions. I don't know which it was, but one of the two was true. So the way it actually works is that at the end of the month, MenuFi bills Ned for all of the online orders. It's not taken out immediately, which was what we thought. So that might not seem like a huge deal, but again, if you're in a point where an extra $100 a month is going to be crippling, then that's not, that adds another wrinkle to this system. So this led to me calling them, asking some more questions. Let's get some more clarity on how this actually works. And I was also starting to explore some alternative payment processors for them. And this point of sales. So as I was asking a little bit more, trying to figure out with Ned, what's linked to Clover right now, we find out that he's also paying somewhere between $60 and $100 a month. Still don't have an exact answer on that, but for the hardware that he's using, and this is for 36 months. So hardware in most cases, or a lot of cases, I won't say most, but in a lot of cases, the hardware for your point of sale, that's between $700 and $1,500 total. So that number is a bit high too. So how do we avoid both of these situations, both the online ordering thing and this hardware question? And there's some other things that have come up, and I'll get to those. But so how do we avoid these? Well, number one is we need to know what questions to ask. This goes for anything being sold to you, but obviously the focus today is point of sale. So I've got a list here of some things that we want to talk through and make sure that we're asking. So number one, what are you paying? What do you pay the processor or your point of sale? Are you paying a monthly subscription for the service? Are you paying a one-time fee? Is there additional subscriptions that you're going to have based on, whatever? In one of these cases, we've got additional fees for them accepting gift cards. Are you going to have some of those things? Do you have to subscribe to different things? What are you paying for? And when do you pay? Is this a daily thing, a weekly thing, a monthly thing? Is it taken out immediately? How's that work? And how is this is something you need to be thinking about, but how does this affect your cash flow? Is that charge going to be the same every month? Does it change based on usage? How exactly does all that work? All of these things you want to be as clear as possible, because again, if you're in a case where you get hit with a $300 bill instead of a $100 bill, you want to know that that's coming, especially to be at any time, unplanned bills are never, those are never good. Whether or not you can handle them or not, that's its own thing, but they're never good. It's always good to have an idea of what your bills are going to be. So in this case, we weren't certain how Ned is going to track his online orders, because, and this is, I'm sure there's an easy way to do this through MenuFi's app, but it's something else that he needs to track. Again, not bad or good, just an additional step that we need to be aware of. And I'm still waiting to hear back from them, but I'm sure they have a solution. This isn't an uncommon problem. So this leads to something I'll get to a little bit further down the road, but don't be like, if you have a problem with one of these systems, ask about it. Ask Menufy. Most of them have pretty solid customer service in my experience. So give them a call. Let them know what your problems are. Let them know what you're thinking, and they probably have a solution. And if it's not through them, then it might be through, a different system. But again, these are things that they deal with all the time. Another line of questions that you should kind of ask: how do you get your money? When do you get that money? And how do those transfers work? Can you make a transfer at any time? Can you schedule it? Is it a weekly thing? I use Square, and I'm pretty sure I can have mine set to the end of each business day. It deposits. You can do weekly. You can do monthly. Like, how does that work for your system? This might not seem like it's that important, but if you make your inventory purchases on a certain day and you can't make transfers before that day, well, then how do you pay for things? So again, something to kind of talk through. Can you push payments through, or does it have to be scheduled? And don't be afraid to ask how it compares to their competitors. What does it do better than the competition? What is the cost difference? Obviously, you're still going to want to do your own research, but it's good to it's good to ask that and see what their perspective on that is. So, before we get to scenario 2, I've got a quick little message for you. This video, first one, and this podcast for the day is brought to you by the City of Washington Citywide Development Corporation. That is who I work for, alongside my business, but that is my full-time job. If you're a business located in Washington that needs help growing and working through some of your current challenges, or if you're outside Washington and looking for a new spot to expand into, or if you're just looking to get started, reach out. I've got the links in the description. That's my job. The CDC services, Washington CDC, the services are free. There's no strings, no gotchas. You don't pay anything. My salary's covered. I don't know how else to say it. Every time I'm talking to anybody, I feel like it takes 3 different ways of me saying that before it actually sinks in. But you don't pay anything. You don't pay anything to the CDC. You don't pay anything. Yeah, I mean, that's it. You don't pay anything. So we've got where it's a nonprofit, and my job is just to help businesses grow in Washington and to bring in new businesses. So if you need help, reach out. Links are in the description. So let's talk about scenario 2. So scenario 2, a client, let's call them Luna, is also using Clover. They've already implemented Menufy for their online ordering, and we're looking at streamlining some of the processes, cutting some costs, because they're looking to expand into a second location, and we're just trying to make sure everything is as streamlined as possible and efficient so that when they open that, they're going to be good to go. So as we're kind of poking around in areas to simplify, we discover that there are about $220 a month in apps, subscriptions, and hardware associated with their point of sale, which is kind of crazy. That's not including the processing, like credit card processing fees. Is it the craziest thing in the world? No. I mean, no, definitely not. But it also depends on, like we talked about already, the state of the business. $220 a month might be a lot. Like an extra $220 a month, it's kind of nice. It's an extra. It's a nice little bit to have in your pocket. So what we learned is that a lot of these fees are things that other processors don't or other point of sales don't have. And that a lot of these could be removed, and that would save Luna like $2,600 a month or a year. So it's a lot. It's a lot, but there's something else to consider. The cost is obviously one thing, but what will it cost to actually implement that change? So if you're going to make a change, what features are you going to lose? What are you going to gain? How much will it actually cost you to implement that change? It's definitely going to take time, but do you need to hire somebody to do that? Or is it something that you can do yourself? Are you even capable of doing it yourself? Or are you going to have to do a bunch of research to make that change? And how long is that going to take you? So what another thing would be the cost to leave your current system. Is there a cost associated with that, or can you just leave at any time? What does that contract look like? And then what is the upfront cost? All of these are things that need to be considered before you make that change, because it might be you don't want to get into a situation where you are frustrated with your current system, and you just make a change because it on surface level looks better, and then you end up in a worse situation. Or it's better in some areas, but worse in others, and in the areas that it's worse in are actually more important to you. So you don't want to get into that situation. So we need to really make sure that cost to change is something that we think through. Another thing here is gift cards and customer subscriptions. How difficult is it actually going to be to make that change? You're likely going to have to reissue gift cards that are still active, and you're going to probably have to resubscribe customers that have a subscription within your business. So what does that look like? If you have 12 gift cards that are active, probably not that big of a deal. If you've got 500 gift cards or 5,000 gift cards, much bigger deal. Now, again, there are ways around that. You can, a lot of the systems have a way that you can easily import some of that data, but you're still going to likely have to reissue those gift cards. That might not be the case. Like, definitely, again, this is why each situation is going to be different. You need to look at what processors you're switching to and from, or point of sale you're switching to and from, and see how they handle both of those situations. Again, you can probably call them and say, hey, I'm thinking about switching, but I have all these gift cards. They'll walk you through it. But that is something to be aware of, because that could end up being a massive headache for you and also for your employees if those are something that are used frequently within your business. So the changing like this, it's going to be very situational. So you might be with a processor that works well in some cases, not as well in others. And the cost to change that, all of those questions we just went through, those might just be too much. You just don't want to deal with it. Maybe it would be cheaper, it will save you money or whatever, but you just don't have the appetite for it. And in this case, that's what we ended up deciding. The appetite to go through all of that change just wasn't there. The savings, it wasn't enough to make that change, because you're also now you've got to teach all your all of your employees a new system. There's a lot of those things that need to be considered, and in this case, we decided it wasn't worth it. But each situation is going to be different. Clover might be best for you. Square might be best for you. Shopify might be best. Toast might be best. There's a ton of options here. But the important thing when you're choosing this point of sale and processor is to ask questions and understand as best as possible what it is that you're actually getting. What are the benefits of each? What are you paying? And where do each of them fall a little bit short? And how important are those things that are benefits and shortcomings? Like I said a little bit ago, like, you don't want to get into a situation where you're just super frustrated and you make a change that you didn't actually need to make, and now you're in a worse situation, or now you take a hit to be just, same place that you were, but now you had to pay to get out of that system and pay to get into this system, and you didn't actually gain anything. You didn't lose anything, but you didn't gain anything either. So now you just wasted this money on something that didn't need to happen, but you made the decision out of frustration. You don't want to get into that situation either. New is not always better. So think through it. If you're frustrated, give the place a call. Call another processor and talk through it. And, somebody's going to be able to talk you off that ledge. So just before you make any of those decisions, be as informed as possible. Yeah, that's it. That's that is all of the important things. There's going to be some others, but I mean, like anything, ask questions. Here are, I just listed a ton of things that you should be asking, or at least considering asking. But if you need help, please reach out. Like I said, this video is brought to you by the Washington CDC. So all those links are down in the description. If you need help, please reach out. Don't get screwed or taken advantage of or any of that just because you didn't know any better, or because you're not an expert in these things. Just give somebody a call. It doesn't have to be me. I don't care if it is me. Just call somebody. Help your friends out. Help them save a little bit of money. Operate more efficiently. Share this with them so that you can give them a little bit of help. And a special announcement. Starting this week, hopefully, I think I'm going to be able to get it edited by Thursday, but I will be releasing videos on the YouTube version of Clearing the Way. That link is also below. I will be tackling similar topics, but it'll be a little bit different. Actually, a lot different format. So, similar topics, but kind of wandering around, much different format. It'll be kind of fun. Be sure to subscribe to that to stay on top of all of the ways that you can improve your small business. If you have any topics that you're interested in, let me know. Thanks for listening. See you Thursday. I hope. I think I'm going to be able to get it done. See you next time. Thanks. I'm your host, Bradley Martin, and this is Clearing the Way, a resource for small business owners.